Hello everyone, it's Joel Davis with United Medical Transportation Providers Group and youarethebroker.com. Helping you to build a highly effective and highly profitable broker business. First and foremost, thank you all for your great emails. We get some outstanding emails, we get some laughably pathetic emails, and everything in between. I tell my team, give me some good quality stuff that I can use to help put these videos together to help as many people as possible. Understand, a lot of you who send emails, I'm not going to be able to make videos on. It's just not going to happen either. Your question is too much of an outlier, it's too pathetically stupid, or it's just irrelevant to what we're trying to accomplish. I want to find good quality emails that I could use as almost like a teaching moment to help as many people as possible. So again, thank you all for your emails. Today's video might be a little lengthy because I actually want to spend a little time. We got a little MTM to talk about. I want to go over a little bit of their propaganda, their website. I want to talk about some other good, important stuff, a little VA, things of that nature. But I encourage you, watch the entire video. We got some good stuff coming at you. So let's dive in and start with the very first one. This is actually from a more of an update. This is from a client provider we're working with, and what I love working with people who have humility, who allow themselves to be vulnerable, and then will openly say, look, this is where I'm at, this is what I did, it's not working, I need help, I want to be a dry sponge to water, I'm willing to soak up anything you give me. And then we make adjustments and things start to work. I absolutely love that. Other people will use us as just they try to use us like a special seasoning, like a little flavoring. They want to go through on their trajectory and it's not working, and they're having to like push and pound the square peg through the round hole, and they just want us to, just when they need us, just for a little bit of added flavor, just a little bit of affirmation, then they want to use me or my team, and we don't even waste time, because there's some people, we get to a point in time we just have to cut them off. It is what it is. But I love working with great people like this. So this one client provider we're working with started to reshape, still a newer business, still a younger business, smaller fleet, a few vehicles, but he's adapting, he's changing. I just love it. And so he was giving me an update on a meeting he had. We started to transition his fleet, started to deploy some stretcher vehicles. He's in a very unique market that gets very good rates of returns on his stretchers, as in like he's gonna be getting like $300 a pop. He writes, "Hi Joel, I had the meeting today with the administrator and it went well. I pitched my rate proposal and he agreed to all rates and services. It was a quick 20-minute meeting, perfect, exactly where you want it. I was pretty happy about the meeting, no dispute with the rates, and it was also a good time to ask how we're doing in their eyes. He's already providing service to this one facility. He said he's very satisfied with our service and has no complaints. We're ready to start the gurney services now. Previously, he was only doing the ambulatory and the wheelchair. Now we've reshaped his fleet, sold vehicles, added new vehicles, make him accessible. Again, think about it. Where his bread and butter was previously something like for ambulatory, now with one single stretcher transport that he knows he's going to be in a $300 range ballpark, think about how many ambulatory trips would he have to perform to equal just one stretcher transport. Think about that. So it affects not only your bottom line, but your top line and your bottom line. Think about it. From one transport, if he yields $300, and I'm just making this up, I mean, that's going to be the ballpark he's going to be in, especially when you add mileage. It's going to exceed 300, but regardless, again, he's in a unique market. We got great advantages. One transport, and let's say that trip took an hour. Well, let's be painfully conservative, and let's say that entire transport took an hour. That means he's paying 1 to 2 drivers, depending on bariatric or not. He's paying 1 to 2 drivers for 1 hour of labor. Think about how many ambulatory trips would he have had to perform to equate to that $300 plus dollars in revenue. How much more would he have to spend in labor? How many more hours are going to have to be spent to accumulate to that $300 plus dollars for one single stretcher? So how much more labor are you going to be spending? That affects the bottom line. So we've already affected the top line. Now we have to spend more in labor for more ambulatory trips. That affects bottom line. more fuel because we're doing more trips, more wear and tear, more maintenance. All these ancillary charges are all associated with every single transport. That's why many of you, with just simple modifications, strategic modifications of restructuring your fleet, and that's a process. It takes time. We got to be smart. We got to be prudent. Financial recapitalization, things of that nature. But man, when you make those adjustments, it totally blows the doors open on the possibilities. Now, this one is going to be, I'm going to jump to another one. This one is going to be interesting. Now, this is not a client provider I work with. A lot of people just shoot us freebie questions because everyone wants us to work for free. They think we're just going to write doctoral dissertations to answer questions. But I'm actually going to jump onto MTM's website here in a moment. So this guy writes, looking for strategies to expand and grow both our NEMT and home care business. Current monthly revenue are $80,000 a month. We have a major facility contract with 12 locations around, and they say their area. We currently utilize independent drivers for ambulatory rides and have 2 wheelchair vans, which we rent in remote locations when needed. We just hired a former Uber marketer to assist in growth marketing. Wow! We want a controlled growth pattern and would like to hear your take on it. Thanks again. Well, what do you need me for? What do you need to hear my take on it for? First of all, I'm not working for free, so I'm not going to write your doctoral dissertation for free. But I'm going to use what you sent me here in a moment as an illustration and a teaching moment for many people. But you just hired an Uber marketer, so you're set. You're good. What more do you need? You got an Uber marketer. Bottom line is this. Here's the difference between somebody, the previous provider, client provider, who was adaptable, changed, open to it. Now, this is an example where somebody is already on a set trajectory. This is what we're doing. We've already hired. You've already spent money, and I don't know how much, but you've already hired an Uber marketer, someone who used to work for Uber. So phenomenal. So they know it all. They know everything about the home care and NEMT. But you're already on a set trajectory. So now you want me to armchair quarterback your tactics, your strategies, your movements. Why would I waste my time with that? That's ridiculous. I could write doctoral dissertations about this, but I'm not going to waste my time. Rather, I'm going to take what you gave us and leverage that as an opportunity to teach other people to expose more about MTM. Now, listen, I know MTM and Logistic Care, they're not the exact same, but they are pretty much almost identical. They are like close kin, brothers, if you will. So because of that, and we are going to be talking about Medicaid brokers, well, hey, I have to exploit this opportunity to share our sponsor.
Are you interested in starting a business that you can't grow or scale? How about a business where you're treated more like a sharecropper than a legitimate business owner? Would you like to own a business where you have no direct access to your customers? How about a business that can cost you more to deliver service than you actually make? Do you dream of owning a business that you can sell for scrap versus selling at a multiple? Well, if you've answered yes to any of those questions, then we definitely encourage you to partner with Logistic Care, where they're going the extra mile to ensure their profitability so you don't have to ensure yours. And let's not forget some of the other added values. When you partner with Logistic Care, you get to wreck your vehicles in exchange for lower rates of reimbursement. And speaking of lower rates of reimbursement, when you make less money, you get to ensure your employees make more money than you do. And fear not, don't ever worry about being paid for cancellations or no-show, because when you partner with Logistic Care, you are guaranteed never to be paid for cancellations or no-shows. And let us not forget to mention that there is no guaranteed trip volume and frequent denials for previously approved trips. And let us not forget to mention the little ditty that Logistic Care representatives make more money depending on how much money they save the company, which means their bonuses are based on how little they pay you. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're serious about building a business you can't grow or scale, you're going to be treated like a sharecropper, you have no access to your customers, it's going to cost you more money to deliver service than you're actually going to make, and you're going to end up selling your business for scrap, then we encourage you to sign up with Logistic Care, where they are going the extra mile to ensure their profitability so you don't have to focus on yours. And as an added benefit of taking advantage of this great opportunity and setting up with Logistic Care, you do not need to check into an insane asylum because you are hereby rendered officially insane.
All right, I know, I get it. Logistic Care is not a sponsor of us. Logistic Care hates me. I get that. But I just love that little clip. That's why I had to play it. So anyways, let's get on. Let's dive on. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is from this transportation provider who sent us this email regarding the Uber marketer and his current plan. Let's dive in and take a look at specifically what he sent us from MTM. So again, this is an actual image of the attachment that this person had sent to us at some point in time this week, asking if we could help him or her
with the items that they italicize. They are obviously applying to become a provider with MTM, the nation's second largest and worst Medicaid broker. So, Texas network requirements. Steps to joining MTM's provider network in the great state of Texas. Number 1, apply online at yada, yada, yada. Number 2, once you have submitted an application and MTM has determined you would be a good fit, you will be called to the Texas office for an in-person interview where you will bend the knee, virtue signaler, where you will meet with the network management team to present your business plan, what you can bring to the table, and ideas for expansion. Last time I checked, you are in business for self-empowerment, building financial freedom, independence, and yet again, every time you sign up with these brokers, all you do is further enslave yourself and join the sharecropping system. But okay, I get it. Get on the dole. You want to chase 30%, 30 to 40%, depending on what type of data you're looking at. 30 to 40% of the NEMT market is based on Medicaid, but I get it. You want to go all in on Medicaid, so you want to invest everything you can to 30 or 40% of the Medicaid market. So enslave yourself, sharecrop with the brokers. That's cool. So go before the court, go before the judge and the jury, and bend the knee, my little virtue signaler. And if they determine that you're worthy and your business plan is good enough, and if you bring something to the table for them, then maybe they'll discuss expansion with you. You will need to bring to you before you come before the MTM court and bend the knee. You will need to bring a business plan. Well, hey, business plan is good. Everyone should have a good business plan when you're starting your business. That's all well and good. Can't go wrong with that. It's a good opportunity for you to uncover some new ideas, market opportunities, things of that nature. Business license, absolutely worthless, but the local government has to get their little taxation going, so okay, but absolutely worthless. Company bank statements for the last 3 months. I want to see how much money you got in your purse, because you're going to be viable, you're going to last, are you sustainable, you're going to get a business, are you desperate, what? Prior transportation contracts. It bothers me a little bit that they want to see your bank statements, but it really starts to bother me. Prior transportation contracts. Why? Why? You don't need to see what I do. Why would I show the right hand what the left hand is doing? I don't need to show you everything I'm doing in other places. That's not your business. But again, when you come before the MTM court, you will bend the knee. So prior transportation contracts. Interesting. They want to see that. This person also wants help with company policies for complaint resolution and corrective action plans, an employee handbook. Number 5 and 6, those are always good things you should create and craft. Those types of things are in my ebook. Definitely check those out. They're important. I get all that. And if you want to come before the MTM court, they're saying you need to have 3 to 5 years experience as a transportation company. Interesting. Okay. Keep that in mind. I'm going to show you something in a little bit. This is all very important because I'm going to show you something very interesting in a moment. Number 8, 5 vehicles. Prefer that you own your vehicles. 5 vehicles. So again, I'm going to chase 30% of the NEMT market, i.e. Medicaid. Let me chase that, and I'm going to go all in with MTM or Logisticare or Southeast Trans or any of these brokers. So I'm going to chase 30% of the market, and so many people will spend how much money up front and become highly leveraged to get vehicles. Here it is, MTM. You need to have a minimum of 5 vehicles, preferably owned by you. How much is that going to cost you? Because you're not just purchasing the vehicles, you got to insure those vehicles. Oh, wait, I'm going to show you something about that too in a moment. So before you come before the MTM court and bend the knee, my little virtue signaler, you better have 5 vehicles along with number 9, current dispatch software and GPS. Number 10, MPI number. That's all absolutely worthless, but whatever. Your MPI and your TPI. So this is absolutely interesting. Again, it never ceases to amaze me how many people who want to go into the NEMT space, and they will go all in and just blindly follow whatever these sharecroppers, MTM, Logisticare, whatever they dictate. People will just blind. They will spend money. They'll fall over themselves to spend money, take out loans, go into debt, spend their savings, take money out of retirement accounts to comply with the MTM, Logisticare, the Southeast Trans, the Medicaid broker overlords. Very interesting. But let me show you some more interesting things. Let's navigate over to MTM's website. All right, so here we are. We're at MTM's website, and we are interested in becoming one of their service providers. All right, man, here's a good old looking rugged dude doing his thing. Okay, that's cool. All right, we're scrolling down, and let's see. Let's just take a quick look right here. So different applications to join as a transportation provider, ambulance provider, home health care coordinator, become a volunteer, join our community-driven program. We'll check that out in a minute. Contracting. MTM will draft a service agreement contract and reimbursement schedule for your company, which includes the requirements set forth by our provider guidelines. Okay, sounds official. Once the signed contracts are returned to MTM, we will create an online credentialing profile for your company. Okay, sounds official. You will then submit all required documentation through this profile. Okay. Leverage technology. I'm cool with that. Training on our online system is available. Cool. Credentialing. Before you can perform any service for MTM, you must submit insurance documentation. Okay, makes sense. Driver staff lists. Okay, makes sense. If I have to have 5 vehicles that I own, I probably am going to have 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers. Okay. Driver staff criminal background checks. Okay. And other required credentials to MTM through your online portal. That's cool. We'll submit it all online, make it easy. When the credentialing process is complete, a contract representative will conduct an initial site visit. Okay, so you're coming to my place? Okay, so the baller shot caller, the king, is coming to my court now. Okay, so the baller shot caller will conduct an initial site visit to evaluate your office location. Oh, so you're going to inspect my crib. Alrighty. And equipment. So you're going to look under the hood, do your thing, perform any necessary vehicle inspections, and answer any questions. How nice. All right, let's do something just for fun. Let's take a quick gander at what MTM requires of us, a transportation provider. All right, let's lift up the hood and take a quick sneak peek at MTM's Transportation Provider Handbook. Now let's look at the table of content. Look at the table of contents. Okay, there's quite a bit of things here we got to make sure we comply with. All right. Okay. Well, it's pretty official. All right. Transportation provider overview, the introduction. Okay. Contracting, some of the basic information. Okay. Well, credentialing. We got to comply with the credentialing. Let's take a look at some of the credentialing just to get a little gander. So our automobile liability insurance, we need to have at least 500,000 combined single limit. Disclosure, ownership, federal ID, general liability, at least 500,000, general aggregate, provider audit, workers' comp. We got to have workers' comp. I'm sure there's more things. Yeah, okay, there's more things. Background checks, driver's license, motor vehicle reports, emergency situation, fingerprinting, all these things. Okay. Okay, there's more. Okay, vehicle inspections, registry. Okay. All right, interesting. Okay, so if we move forward, we know that we got to do a lot of what's this? Some more forms. Okay, okay. So we got to do a lot of compliance if we want to become a transportation provider. Interesting. You know what? Let's jump back to their website. I want to see what the requirements are if we want to be a volunteer driver. I mean, realistically, if I'm a transportation provider and they're going to pay me to transport people who are ambulatory or transport people in a wheelchair or stretcher, obviously, if someone is volunteering to drive for MTM, I mean, as a minimum, they're going to be transporting people who are ambulatory. Let's just for fun, let's take a look at some of the requirements just to be a volunteer. So here we are back at their website. Let's take a look at their volunteer program. All right, look at this dude, man. He's working hard. He's doing his thing. He's volunteering. God bless him. He's sacrificing, giving of his own time on his dollar, tearing up his car, building a volunteer network. Love it. Look. Oh, look. Wait a minute. This is all I got to do to become a certified community driver? That's it? Wait a minute. Okay, building a volunteer network. Do you have your own car? Yeah, okay, I'm prepared to wreck my car, and I'll spend my own money, I guess. Okay. Can you spare a few hours a week to help members of your community safely travel to their healthcare services and live healthier? Oh, sure. Why volunteer? Oh, feels good, do good, be blessed. Okay, whatever propaganda you're getting. Okay, good stuff. Oh, wait a minute. So there's no manual I got to comply with? This is it? Okay, so our safety is our priority. So the requirements for me to volunteer, to wreck my own car, use my own gas to volunteer to transport ambulatory people, that transportation providers who are willing to go before the MTM court, have a minimum of 5 vehicles, bend the knee, be willing to submit to all the background checks, fingerprinting, $500,000 minimum, $500,000 total aggregate, workers' comp, etc. All I need to do is have a current valid driver's license, provide proof of adequate vehicle insurance. You don't even care what my minimums are? Wow, you don't even care. So if I'm going to be a legitimate transportation provider and you're going to compensate me for transporting the same people that I could do it for free as a volunteer, you're telling me if you pay me, I got to have legitimate insurance at much higher limits and premiums. But if I volunteer to do it for free, I could transport those same people with my own car using my own insurance. Let's see. Maintain satisfactory MVR. That's cool. Pass a national background check. That's easy. Undergo a clean drug screening. That's cool. It's common sense. Complete comprehensive training on topics of fraud, waste, and abuse. HIPAA requirements. That's cool. So here's 6 things. All I got to do are these 6 things, and I could volunteer to use my own car, wreck it, pay for maintenance, pay for my own insurance, pay for my wear and tear, spend my own time, and I could transport the exact same people in the exact same manner that the MTM and broker gods require us to bend the knee, be subservient, increase insurance premiums, increase oversight and regulation, and yet we're transporting the exact same people. Things that make you go,
All right, so again, just to underscore, I hope you learned something from that by literally just looking at what they give us. Again, I like to think of myself as painfully practical, keep emotion out of the equation. I want fact-based evidence. And all you got to do is look at their own material, their own propaganda, look at MTM's website, and again, ask yourself just a simple question. How is it they have so much rules, regulations, policies, procedures, requirements for insurance and regulation with regards to transporting someone for hire? Yet if I volunteer and don't charge you anything, I could volunteer, wreck my own car, transport someone in the same exact manner, same person from point A to point B, and my insurance is irrelevant. It's next. All I have to do is have just regular personal insurance. Wreck my car, expose myself to personal liability. As long as I'm willing to do that, I don't have to jump through all the hoops. It's incredibly ridiculous and laughable. That's why so much of the rules and regulations regarding the actual agreements, for hire agreements, are so antiquated, so outdated, and all they do is just put so much on top of you, just bury you with nonsense. You as a provider, you as an entrepreneur who is desiring of self-empowerment, having more, doing more, exploring your creative possibilities. And yet when you partner with a broker like this, and again, you're only chasing 30 to 35% of the market, you're going to chase 30 to 35% of the market, and you're voluntarily enslaving yourself to all of that nonsense. And I've just proven you it's absolute nonsense. Because if I volunteer, wreck my car, expose myself to my own personal liability, I don't have any of those rules, regulations, requirements, incur additional costs, nothing. But if you're going to pay me, now you own me. Big difference. And again, I'm not making this up. I just demonstrated it right here. It's all in front of you. Now, the next one. The next question is from a great person, very smart business owner who I'm going to be doing business with in the future. I think I've talked about her before in previous videos. This is in response to some of the VA work that if you're a member of the UMTPG, we share a lot of whenever we get notifications for bids for sources sought notices or anything regarding the VA. We want to share those with our providers. I'm blessed to have a person in DC who I went to West Point with, and she sends us leads whenever they cross her desk. She sends us good information, so that's great. We appreciate that, and we want to pass that on and share that with you. So anyways, we shared some this past week in different areas. Anyways, this client provider who I know I'm going to be doing business with in the future, she is a sharp little cookie. She writes, Joel, Why wouldn't we bid on all these contracts? This seems like a great way to be a broker for NEMT. I have a friend that lives out that way. She would let me stay to feel out the lay of the land. What are your thoughts? Well, I have a lot of thoughts because over the years, countless people have asked me, Joel, why don't you become a broker for NEMT? Again, I know I have youarethebroker.com, youarethebroker.com, good, thriving broker business, has nothing to do with NEMT or the Medicaid debacle. So separate those two. So if you're new to this channel, just starting to watch my videos, youarethebroker.com has nothing to do with NEMT. I don't enslave myself with that nonsense. So, great questions. And first and foremost, there's a number of reasons. Now, many people have asked, Joel, why don't you become a broker? Now, I mentioned previously, if Medicaid comprises about 30 to 35% of the entire NEMT transportation ecosystem, VA is even less. Now, does that mean you can't make money doing something like she proposed? Of course you can. You can make money. But there are a lot of things for me personally, for Joel Davis personally, that I need to consider. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sure you saw this just the other day. I mean, it is what it is. Oprah Winfrey came out and said there are white people who are not as powerful as a system of white people, the caste system that's been put in place, but they still, no matter where they are on the rung of ladder of success, they still have their whiteness. Therefore, look, Oprah said it. It is what it is. So the first reason why I can't take advantage of this is because I personally, being a social justice warrior, I can no longer play on my white privilege. I will not do that anymore. I know that whatever I do, I will do well. And because of Oprah said it, so it's gospel. So white privilege, I cannot in good conscience move forward and start a broker business, go after these VA contracts because I'm white. All right, maybe that's nonsense. But anyways, the second reason why I won't do it is increased regulation. I'm just going to be honest with you, especially if I'm comparing what is already now a thriving broker business that has nothing to do with NEMT or Medicaid, or in this case, VA. Number one, I personally, Joel Davis, now someone else can go do it, but I personally do not want to invest the time, money, and effort, resources, the wherewithal to pursue a much smaller niche. Again, if the Medicaid component of the entire NEMT space is 30, some people will argue up to 40%. I don't think it's quite that high. I think it leans more towards 30 to 35%. I promise you the VA is in single digits. Absolutely sure VA is within the single digits. So I am not going to chase after such a small focused niche, at least not at this time for sure. So I already know that it's the smallest space with increased regulation. Now, would it be compatible or comparable to the level of regulation for Medicaid? I don't think as much. I've reviewed a lot of different sources, thoughts, notice, and I definitely, in people I work with who do a lot of VA work, it's much more amicable. The rates of reimbursement tend to be higher. I'm sure people could argue the other way in certain locations, but overall, working with the VA is much better than working with Medicaid brokers, bar none. But still, it's just a smaller slice of the pie that I'm not going to waste my time and effort going after that when it has the increased regulation. Next, it's a lower rate of reimbursement. At the end of the day, let's be honest, we're talking about, yeah, we can get some stretcher work, wheelchair work is obviously in the mix, it's always prominent. But ambulatory work, there's a lot of ambulatory work typically involved with some of these VA contracts. And again, it's like, especially if you have to understand my point of reference. If I didn't have a successful broker business where, again, it has nothing to do with NEMT and we make a much greater returns, greater revenue, much greater margin, you got to ask yourself, Joel, why would I waste my time? I know there's money to be made there, which brings up a very important point. I've mentioned this before. There's millions of ways to make millions of dollars. But just because there's a way to make money over here doesn't mean it's ideal for me. Just because there's a way for me to make money over here does not mean that it's an ideal a compatible business model for me. We're not in alignment. So yeah, can you make money with it? Sure. But honestly, with between the increased regulation, the lower rates of reimbursement, I'm just not going to waste my time. Now let's go to another issue. Bidding process. I mean, everything associated with this is bidding. So I'm not going to invest the time and the effort to try to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, knowing that I'm bidding on this. And again, you've got to take into consideration my point of reference. If I didn't have a thriving, successful broker business that's not associated with this, I might be thinking different. Years and years and years ago, when I actually was thinking about starting a broker business, this was before Obamacare and brokers started to pop up on every corner. I was actually moving in that direction, but there was other key variables at that time. Again, this is like a decade ago that changed my mind of not going down the broker path. But again, then once Obamacare came around, boom, everything exploded. Brokers were on every corner. Now you have just a vicious bidding process that I don't even need to waste my time dirtying my hands with. Again, let's go to another point, and again, I already kind of touched on this. It's just a smaller market share bottom line. I mean, you're talking about a much smaller sliver, much smaller piece of the pie. I mean, how much effort do I want to go in chasing after the smallest little sliver? If I'm going to pursue something, look, I'm a fat man. I want it. If I got a delicious pie in front of me, I'm eating that pie. If it's one of those chocolate pies that has whipped cream on top and you got that nice crust on there, I'm going all in face first. I'll sleep in the thing. I mean, that's the way it's going to happen. Now, something like this, it's like, again, you got Medicaid, which is a small slice of the NEMT pie. You have VA, which is literally in the single digits. You can count in one hand. So, and this leads to another point. When you consider everything in its totality, increased rules and regulations, lower rates of reimbursement, the bidding process, smaller market share, then you compound the situation where I call it herding cats. One thing when I founded the UMTPG back in 2010, I'm going to be honest with you, I had visions of grandeur. People were going to collaborate with each other and everything. And nothing has been a bigger struggle for us with UMTPG than working with providers who everybody to them as a competitor. Everybody has to be a competitor. Back in the day on the UMTPG site, we used to have, we tried to have a directory of all of our active members. So if you were an active member, you could see others. And literally 10% of the membership would feature their company name and number. Everyone wanted to be anonymous because they look at everybody as a competitor. And I'm sure some of you watching this, you've had the same sentiments at some point in time. I get that. And I understand it. I really do. I understand that. You know, especially if you're new and you're trying to start out and you're trying to chase every dollar and everything, it gets tough. But, you know, bottom line is disappointing because realistically, the more we are separated and segregated in the NEMT industry, the more it empowers and emboldens Medicaid brokers. Bottom line. If there's one thing, and I will tell you this with all certainty because, again, a former executive who used to work for Logisticare told me, they openly know and admit the one thing they prey on is the naivete and the ignorance of providers. Bottom line, she openly told me that almost word for word verbatim. And they know that providers are never going to be unified. They are, because they're always fighting each other. The other thing is the volatility. Some people will come in, they mismanage the company, they're out. Some people are bigger, some people are smaller. Some people do it part-time, they don't take it serious. For whatever reasons, they're in, they're out, they're up, they're down. They know because the brokers know they hold all the cards and the leverage by sheer ignorance of the providers. They chew them up, they spit them out because they're able to prey on their naivete and vulnerabilities. So again, going back to the issue at hand of creating a brokerage system to go after a lot of this VA work, again, when you consider all these things in its totality and then combine it with the fact that you are literally what I call herding cats to fulfill the work for a higher degree of regulation, lower amount of reimbursement, all through the bidding process in hopes of getting the work. it's just not my cup of tea. There's just so much money to be made in other ways. And again, I'm sure my point of reference and context would be different if I didn't have a thriving broker business that's not affiliated, that doesn't have any rules, regulations, that doesn't have any of that stuff. My point of reference might be a little bit different. But again, years ago, I actually considered the prospects of starting a broker business and would have pursued a lot of this Medicaid work. And man, if God isn't the greatest, his timing, his way, man, he just protected me, because I can only imagine what a colossal debacle or headache that would have been. I mean, I just would have been entrenched, and man, I couldn't imagine. But anyways, there's so much other ways to make money, and that's why, again, I stress in all my videos, you leverage your NEMT business, home care, courier, your broker business, whatever, you leverage it. You leverage it as a tool for you to make more money, empower yourself, establish that freedom, financial, that independence, and then you leverage that money. You leverage that money to build your honeypot. As a quick side note, as I work to wind down and end this video, have you seen the headlines? Have you seen what's happening? Have you seen the markets? Have you seen how phenomenal this is? You have all the doomsdayer and the loon tunes and the knee benders and the virtue signalers, and they're burning down their cities, and you got half the country still shut down, half open up. And look at the markets. They're absolutely phenomenal. Why? Because that is the difference of having a businessman in the White House versus having a community agitator. Bottom line. Again, I'm not making this stuff. I mean, it is what it is. Joel, you're pushing an agenda. Joel, you're showing your politics. Joel, you have a biased view. I'm just showing you what the markets are doing, man. This isn't me. You got half the economy that's still shut down, and we're still kicking ASS and taking names. This would have been a wet dream for the previous administration. Joel, you're so biased. No, I'm just practical and realistic. How many times do I say, just play the hand that you're dealt? All I'm saying is, build your business, leverage it, exploit it for as much as you possibly can, make money, but you've got to have a diverse strategy. You've got to build multiple sources of revenue. Go back and watch the video. I'll make sure that they put a link at the bottom of this. Watch the video where I talk about the liabilities, building a strong dynamic model that allows you the opportunity to build a thriving honeypot that one day is going to sustain you. How's it going to sustain you? When you got markets like this, when you have great opportunity, and I know there's doomsday out there. I know there's loon tunes, and they're hating and they're crying and they want to do everything they possibly can to end it. But again, that is the difference. I'm just playing the hand that's dealt. I'm not making this stuff up. So, watch all the videos. If you watched all the way to the end of this, kudos to you. I hope you learned. I know some of you checked out a long time ago. I know many of you unsubscribed. I understand this relationship wasn't meant to be, but for those of you who stayed to the end, kudos to you. I appreciate it. Continue to send your emails, and maybe we will feature it in one of these, what do we call these, Q&A videos? I don't even know. I've never even thought about what we're going to call it, but regardless, send them. Always appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you at the top.